We're on. Okay, to call the Arts Commission meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being our Public Art Committee meeting to order, sorry. Today, the Arts Commission, Public Art Committee, and Metro staff are joining by conference call. In a moment, we'll call a roll of all the members present. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the Metro Nashville YouTube channel within 2 business days after the meeting. All the votes will be made by roll call, and all action items voted on at today's meeting will be reconfirmed at the next in-person meeting of the committee. I encourage everybody to stay muted until it's time to talk. Is anybody having technical difficulties at this point? Everybody on? Okay, then I guess I'll call the meeting to order again. I'm going to call your name and you answer present or not. Campbell West.
Present.
Alejandro Arcierto.
Present.
Donna Gilliam.
Present.
Amari Booker. Chairman Schmidt. Is Jim with us today? I don't see him. Have I got everybody?
He's not with us today.
Okay, did I get everybody? This is what I had on my list. Okay. Okay, we need a motion that the meeting agenda constitutes essential business of this body and meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans considering the COVID-19 outbreak, and is permitted under Governor's Executive Order number 78. Do I have a motion for this, please?
I'll motion.
Who is, say your name.
Alejandro Cierto will
Yeah,
motion.
just, you have to do that for the record, sorry. And do I have a second?
This is Campbell West. I second.
Okay, I will call the roll. Or is there any discussion? All right, Campbell West.
Yes.
Alejandro.
Yes.
Donna.
Yes.
Amari.
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. I'll now pass the meeting over to Van.
Hello, everybody. It's so nice to see you virtually. I'm of course grateful to see you virtually, but I must say we're coming up on our 1 year COVID reality, and I really miss convening in person. I'm ready for us to be vaccinated and able to safely convene again, because there's nothing like just being in community and being in the same room physically together. But all that to say, I do appreciate you showing up, and we're going to make the most of our time today. So before we get started with action items, I do want to give 2 heads up. One, as we have been meeting virtually, we will need to go back and approve meeting minutes from previous meetings. So we are going to send an email out to everybody, which will include an attachment of meeting minutes. It will be robust, so just know we'll give everybody ample time to review those, but we will bring those meetings back for approval, which will be an action at our next meeting. So Grace will be communicating with everybody. And for those of you who have been on Public Art Committee the bulk of the time as virtual members of our committee, meeting minute approval is something that we typically do at each meeting. So we will do that retroactively, and we do have a bit of a backup since we have not been doing that. And yeah, so we'll just play catch up and roll this. The next announcement I have to make is, oh, it's so bittersweet. And David, it's even worse that we can't see you, but that's okay. So at our last meeting, we said goodbye to Paul Collins, who rolled off. And today is David John Walker's last day as a PAC member. But fear not, we are so excited to share that he has been nominated to our Board of Commissioners. So David, congratulations on that appointment. It is so deserved.
Thank you, thank you.
I just can't, I really, truly, I can't emphasize how impactful you've been on the PAC. You know, you are the first one to volunteer your time when it comes to serving on a panel or a review process, which is huge for us. You have been an amazing leader. And I told the staff that whichever subcommittee you get appointed to as a commissioner, they hit the appointment jackpot. And like David John Walker is the best. I'm really, oh man, I'm excited he's a commissioner, but I'm so sad to lose you on PAC, and I hope we see you again. And now, of course, you could serve as a chair one day to our PAC, but I just wanted to acknowledge your leadership here at PAC, give you a proper send-off, and to say a huge congratulations. We're so excited to have your leadership and your voice at the commission level.
I really appreciate that, and I've had a great time serving the PAC and assisting in any way that I could.
You're the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that leads us to our first action item. We can advance our slide. So we will be nominating 2 new PAC members today. So we are bringing forth 2 great folks that some of you may know. I know staff are familiar with these individuals. Sarah Lee Bird is our first nomination. Sarah Lee has been a fixture of the Nashville arts community for a number of years with curatorial, editorial, and teaching experience. Some of you may have had first contact with her, especially on our staff, when she was serving as executive editor for Nashville Arts Magazine, which she served in that role from 2012 until 2016, when they ceased to be a physical print publication. After that, she started her own consulting business, and she's been teaching courses at her alma mater, Vanderbilt, in their art history department. She's also been doing some work in their archives. She's also done extensive teaching abroad, it's Thursday, abroad and overseas, which is what I just combined, at the university level in Columbia, which is her family's home country. So we are so excited to have Sarah Lee. She's really played a pivotal role in promoting the public art collection for a number of years. We used to have a regular spot to talk about public art and to promote our collection in Nashville Arts Magazine. So we've had a close relationship with her for a number of years, and we're really excited that we can bring her on in this capacity. The next person that we're going to be nominating today, Sean Giles, who, again, some of you may know. He is also an influential fixture in our arts community, and a person who's really made a massive impact on local artists in recent years. He's done so in his role as community engagement director at the Frisk Museum. And in that role, he is in charge of the community gallery. So he's not only overseeing the student exhibits and community exhibits that are happening there, but of course, some of these really groundbreaking exhibits featuring North Nashville artists. He has been a huge champion for that work and bringing our North Nashville local artist spotlight to such a well-respected and kind of grand stage as the Frisk is. So we're so grateful for his leadership in that capacity. And he's been with the Frisk since 2005. He is just a really strong, I would say he is not someone who demands the spotlight, but he deserves much credit for moving the needle on local artists showcasing in our museums. Sean also has been working with us as a community advisor on our Kossie Park Public Art Project. So we've had the pleasure of getting to work with him in that sense. And now we have invited both Sarah Lee and Sean to serve on PAC, and they have both enthusiastically accepted. So that will bring us to our action item. If anyone has any questions about our 2 new friends, I can do my best to represent them.
Are there any questions? Do we have a motion and a second for this, please?
So staff requests PAC approval to appoint Sarah Lee Bird and John Giles to the Public Art Committee.
I make a motion. This is David.
And this is Omari, I second. And I also just, as a part of my second, David, man, it's been so great having you on the pack. I also got to watch, or got to join a call where David recently was talking about his work, and I learned a bunch of new things, and I look forward to continuing the relationship even after he's passed on. That's a long second, but I also do love Sarah Lee and John, so that's a great two people to hopefully have join us.
I'm
Great.
really excited about both of their appointments.
That's great. All right. Well, I think we're ready to vote. And I'm sorry, I have not been calling David's name. Are you voting? Is he voting member of this meeting today?
Question, Grace?
I don't believe so.
I think we should not consider, we might have to do someone else needs to do first.
Yeah, someone should.
Motions. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, if somebody else could make a motion, please.
This is Campbell. I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Thank you. Are you ready? Everybody ready to vote? Campbell,
Yes.
Alejandro,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes, sorry.
that's okay. Amari,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Thank you. Thank you. All right, next.
Thank you, everyone. So action item number 2, I'm going to hand it over to the one and only Gardner to share about the Kossie Gardner Senior Park scope. We've made some amazing progress and have some updates, action updates for you to take a vote on. Trey, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Grace, if you could go to the next slide. Just a reminder about the Kossie Gardner Senior Park Project. We're calling it the Community Canvas. It's located at 1606 Jefferson Street, just across from Fisk University in Woodcuts, and also One Drop Ink Studio. The scope is for a mural, probably, but we're open to some other multimedia in 2D, possibly 3D artworks. I think, and I'll say in the call, we've worded this in a way that is kind of leaning towards mural, but doesn't necessarily say no to something else. But we do emphasize it needs to be appropriate for outdoor civic space. So just some clarification there. So I would not expect to see something coming out of the wall that's 3D, but I won't rule it out at this point. The budget is up to $50,000 for this first installation using temporary artwork funds, and we're hoping the installation could last up to 24 months. And then for the next slide, also Alejandro Cierto is going to be our PAC chair. So Alejandro, thank you for your input, and I guess Sean Giles will also be on that panel, but he's still, and I kind of cleared this with Van, he's still going to be serving in his role through the FRIS. So Alejandro, you guys won't be like co-chairing that now that he's a member of the PAC. And then, so for our project goals and vision, these really came out of those community panel interviews and surveys. What we did was we had an introduction meeting and we posed some survey questions that might help craft the call and kind of really getting the words from some of the local artists and community members that are living in the area and working in the area to kind of use their language. So this yielded these main project goals and kind of vision subjects, being multi-general representation, which is something we've kind of consistently said since day one with this project. After Thaxton's engagement, is making sure, you know, the community has a lot of history and a lot of history holders that are considered almost elders in the community, but trying to make sure that there's a way for their history to be told, but also inspiring the next generation as this, excuse me, I cannot talk either, it's Thursday. Inspiring the next generation the same. And then historical content, everyone I've spoken to has emphasized the importance of teaching the history of Jefferson Street in North Nashville in this space. So while it might be something inspiring the new generation, I think pretty much everyone I've talked to wants history to be told. And there's a lot of different histories and a variety of different subject lines. So I think it's a great way to kind of tie in this mural and this space specifically pretty much has to have that historical context or at least emphasis. And then promoting and inspiring community wellness. This is kind of just continuing on the work that we started to kind of get into with Build Better Tables, and that North Art Collective has kind of continued, especially with their murals at the farmers market. But just looking at community wellness and kind of the idea of not just kind of healthy eating and public health, but just holistic health and community health also, which includes mental health. So just promoting the idea of wellness and it could be an educational thing as well, and kind of inspiring the community through that lens. And then considering a space for gathering, specifically thinking about the conversations that might occur in this. Sorry, Campbell, was your hand raised? I didn't know. Sorry. Yeah, considering the conversations that might occur in the space, I think whether it be cultural conversations that's casual, making sure that it's relevant to the neighborhood is extremely important. And we also consider there might be important community discussions that are not as casual, but are very meaningful and important to the times. And just making sure that this mural is speaking to that and is not out of place in this community. So, you know, what we don't want is a subject that has nothing to do with you know, anything that the people in the community can connect with. So that's kind of the main focus there. And then partnership and programming, we've already identified a number of ways that artists and community and Metro Arts and Parks Department can partner in this space, whether it be through some of the HBCUs or other universities around the city, through some of the programming that already exists. I think there's a great opportunity to partner with the Art Crawl, as Omari and Woodcuts are just across the street. One Drop Ink Studio as well. So we've got a lot of people at the table from Fisk and TSU to kind of all kind of start thinking about that ahead of time. Another person on the panel who's been a really great thought leader is Angel Adams, and she's been already doing some programming around the community and some of the surrounding parks. So we've kind of thought about some of the ideas she had and is kind of moving forward with, and it should be fairly seamless to kind of partner the artists with these organizations and community members, because we've already kind of started laying that groundwork. Sorry, it's hot in my apartment. Next slide, please. This is just kind of a layout of what the wall looks like. If you have been on Jefferson Street recently, you will see that this is complete and erected. The left side of this wall is a historic narrative info. If you go, I also have a copy of that narrative, which will be included on kind of an appendix in the call. It just touches on the basic kind of overlooking history of Jefferson Street in North Nashville. It talks about you know, the music and culture. It talks about the HBCUs. It talks about displacement and Interstate 40. And it even kind of talks about the legacy that artists of today's time are starting to leave in their work. So that's kind of on the left side. And then, of course, you know, this right side is the community canvas per se. Next slide, please. So just details about the call to artists. The call to artists will be a local call. We surveyed panelists about that, and it was pretty overwhelming that it needs to be a local. We do want to likely expand it to greater Nashville area, so that might include places like Murfreesboro, just kind of the outskirts, but not really outside of Middle Tennessee. The selection criteria we came up with was community connection and commitment. I think we wanted there to be an emphasis that the artist has shown that they do at least have some perspective of the history of this community and kind of are at least willing to understand. I don't think we want someone who has to know everything about the community right now, but definitely someone who's aware of that and willing to get deep into that learning. Artwork examples is just a typical selection criteria we have. Well, where we'll judge the artist based on their previous work. Short answer response is something different that we are doing, and I was able to get some great questions from the panelists, which I'll share on the next slide. Sorry. And then, sorry, I'll go back. But artist capacity, which I think we're still struggling with that term, artist capacity, but basically we're trying to evaluate that the artist at least has the ability to complete the project on time, on budget, and according to the scope. Of course, given that we have plenty of resources to help and kind of assist with that also. Our plan is to release the call on Monday, March 8th, 2021, this coming Monday, and then it'll close 4 weeks later on April 5th at 11:59 p.m. So at midnight, April 5th. Next slide, please. Thank you. And then these are the short answer questions that we'll be asking artists to answer up to 250 words. First is, how would you describe your artistic practice and what is your creative process? Why is this project of interest to you? What factors do you consider developing? What factors do you consider in developing a project like this? What role does public art play in adding to the social fabric of a community? How will you challenge conventions and engage your community with your artwork while ensuring the artistic integrity of your own work and practice? And then finally, please explain how you would involve community participation and input into the design, implementation, and/or actualization of the work, and be specific. Next slide, please. So yeah, this gets us kind of to our updated timeline. Our hope is that the call will release on Monday and will close, hoping that we get plenty of submissions on April 5th. We'll actually have semifinalists selected in April that we will bring back to the PAC for your approval. And then following that, we'll do a semifinalist interview and site visit leading up to those interviews, just to get them more acquainted with the site and probably have, it's someone from Parks at least on board to kind of answer any logistical questions that they might have in thinking about how to approach their interviews. So yeah, I hope we can have a final artist selected by May to bring back to you all for approval. And then we hope to get install done this spring and summer. Hopefully we can have an unveiling and community event. So sorry, that was a lot, but if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer and discuss. But we are requesting the approval for the community canvas project scope at Kossie Gardner Senior Park.
Any questions or discussion? I don't see any hands. Okay, if we're ready to vote, we'll go for it. Campbell? Campbell?
Oh, yes.
Alejandro?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Amari?
Yes.
And I vote aye. Thank you. What's next?
And really quickly, the time, I'm sorry, this is Omari. The date that call opens, could you just say that one more time? I'm a little late on my question, but
March 8th, Monday, this coming Monday. So I'll share the link to the submittable form and the call to artists document also with you all.
Great. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Omari. Appreciate it.
think we're ready for the next.
Yes, real quick, my apologies. I had a bit of a technical glitch. Would you mind reminding me who is the first and second on that?
You know what? I didn't call for that, so let's back up. Sorry about that. Now that you said that, do I have a motion? So sorry.
Oh, no problem.
This is Donna. I motion.
The second.
This is Campbell. I second.
Let's go
I-
ahead just in
I think-
case.
Yeah, it can't hurt.
Okay.
Okay, Campbell.
Aye.
Alejandro.
Yes.
Donna.
Yes.
Amari.
Yes.
I vote yes. My apologies, guys. All right.
And just so you all know, you should see that Jane has an actual script that we have to send her that she has to say word for word. And again, woohoo, thanks a lot, virtual meetings. So Jane, don't sweat it. We're all, yes, doing our best by virtual legality. So our next and third action item, we will have our colleague Marissa LaRoe present, and I just want to give a shout out to Marissa. She will probably be a new face to most of you, although not our commissioners. And Marissa has done a fabulous job with Thrive. She has just made so many improvements to the process, to the artist coaching, and it's really been a labor of love. So I'm excited to hand the mic virtually over to you, Marissa, and thank you for your leadership on Thrive.
Thanks so much, Van. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Marissa. I'm overseeing the Thrive program this fiscal year. For those who aren't familiar, Thrive is our project that kind of spans both our strategic funding and initiatives team and our public art team. It links together individual artists, businesses, nonprofit organizations to create community art projects. So we have just one public art related Thrive project for you to review today for the second cycle of our fiscal year 21 funding. And this project is called the Madison Seed Library. It was proposed by a team of artists, Cybelle Elena, Ellen Schlabach, and Miriam Spire. And Miriam and Cybelle were both involved in the Madison on My Mind project, and you can see some photos there on the right with some of their work at Madison on My Mind. And their proposed community partners are the Nashville Public Library Madison branch, the Nashville Food Project, and Trap Garden. We can go to the next slide. So what they'd like to do for this project is to create a standing seed library piece for the Madison branch of Metro Nashville Public Library. So this would be a cabinet that they're going to paint. It'll include color-coded compartments to house the different seeds. They will be including seeds from a variety of different cultures. It's going to include three-dimensional vibrant signage and a hand-illustrated educational booklet that will be available in both English and Spanish. It's going to be a permanent installation at the library, and they have proposed $9,500 as their budget to make this happen. The Thrive Community Review Panel did approve recommendation for funding at that amount. So you can go to the next slide. So on this slide, you'll see some samples of their artistic work from the three artists. The Nashville Public Library Madison branch has agreed to be responsible for this artwork, to maintain it for as long as they wish to have it as part of the library. And if they ever decide not to have it as part of the library anymore, they will be responsible for removal. So you can go to the next slide. And so if you have any questions about the project, I'd be happy to answer them. And if not, we would request approval of this proposed project.
Does anybody have any questions? Comments? Okay, well, I will entertain a motion for approval.
This is Alejandro. I'll move to approve.
Okay. Is there a second?
This is Campbell. I'll second.
Thank you. All right, any more discussion? Ready to vote? Okay. Campbell?
Aye.
Alejandro?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
Omari?
Yes.
And I vote aye. Thank you.
And the bloopers continue. I am trying to move forward, and Grace, am I jumping in at the wrong place?
No, I think this can go to either you or Jane. So, Jane, I don't know if you were speaking, but you might be muted.
Sorry. I was just turning it over to Van for the update.
Y'all were a piece of work this morning. Thank you for laughing with us instead of crying with us. Project and program updates. I'm going to hand it over to Leslie first, and then we will have Tilio, who's going to wrap it up for us. So Leslie was having some technical issues. So instead of running the risk of freezing, she is joining us by phone. So we may not see Leslie, but we will hear her. Leslie, it's all yours.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Van. Can you hear me, Van? Is that good?
Crystal clear.
Yes, you sound great.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you all. I have three important updates to share with you. The first update is on Stix lighting improvements. Grace, if you'll move to the next slide. Stix is our 70-foot tall sculpture of painted red cedar poles within the KVB roundabout. This was the work of artist Christian Muller. It was installed 5 years ago, and over time we've noted some changes that have limited the effectiveness of those original in-ground light fixtures. Our electricians have let us know that there's some water intrusion. The landscaping has matured. Even with the trimming schedule, in the fall, it can grow quite high and cover those in-ground lights. And finally, the area around the roundabout has changed dramatically. There is a high-rise hotel, the Westin, that wasn't there when Stix was installed. So rather than simply replacing the lamps and the ballast in those existing fixtures, we talked with the artist and decided that this was a chance to re-examine the site and make some lighting improvements. So last year we developed an RFP for a lighting designer to evaluate the site and work with us and the artists to create a lighting design that enhances the nighttime presence of the artwork, both close up and from a distance. That award was made to Dow Ham of HGA Lighting. Dow was here for a site visit this fall, and now she is exploring all the lighting design options, including lighting the horizontal plane. And you can go on to the next slide, please. Yes, so you see where she's looking at exploring lighting the horizontal plane as well as accentuating the full height of each pole with uplights. We had a great meeting with artist Christian Muller earlier this week, and we expect to do some on-site mock-ups later this spring. So more on this later, but we wanted to let you know that we've made some great progress. Moving on to our next update, the Art Lending Library. Go ahead to the next slide. Grace, please. Thank you. We've also been working hard on the Art Lending Library, which many of you are very familiar. Thank you again to those of you on the Public Art Committee who served as the selection panel. For the Art Lending Library, we used percent funds to purchase wall-hung artwork from 60 Davidson County artists. Through this pilot program, the public will be able to check out artwork from 2 regional branches, Southeast and Madison, for a period of 3 months. The artwork was purchased late last year. We have since had it all professionally photographed, and the artworks are now at the framers. Next slide, please. While that has been happening, we have been working with library staff and Duncan McDaniel of Art Up Nashville to develop artwork display plans for each site. And you'll see our draft of the plan for the Southeast Branch Library. We've also been thinking about the promotion of this collection. There are so many interesting stories revealed in the artist's background and their artistic practice. So we're in the process of bringing on a videographer to develop some short video clips to use on our website and social media that will really help us promote the Lending Library. And I expect we'll have a whole lot more to share with you at upcoming meetings. And then our final update is regarding a conservator report. This final update that I'm going to share with you results from a request we received from the council for data on Metro-owned public art. Council members were aware of public art on Metro property in need of conservation. These artworks were ones installed before the Percent for Art ordinance was adopted, so they are not part of the collection that Metro Arts manages. For this reason, these older Metro-owned artworks did not have a plan, in most cases, for maintenance and conservation. So as a first step, in 2018, Metro Arts staff developed an inventory of this Metro-owned public art, not included in the Percent collection. Based on that report, we developed an RFP for a professional conservator to provide assessments and cost estimates for certain high priority artworks. That award was made to Andrew Smith and Smith Art Conservation. And so we've been working with General Services and Parks and determined that there were 8 artworks that they would take a look at. 5 of those are in Centennial Park. 2 of those artworks are located within a mile of the Christmas Day bombing site, the carved glass windows at the historic courthouse and the founding of Nashville, a bronze sculpture at Bicentennial Park next to Fort Nashboro. For this reason, we had the conservator come back in January to reassess. He did a thorough on-site investigation and compared that to October 2020 photos. We're very glad to let you know that he did not observe any changes in condition as a result of the bombing. Next slide, please. So here's what his assessment revealed. As to condition, 7 of the artworks were considered poor or a fair poor condition. The water fountain shelter, the one you see pictured to the left of on the left side of the slide, at Shelby Park, he determined that to be deteriorated, and all 8 of the artworks, he determined them to be high priority for treatment. As for cost estimates, he's indicated that the initial conservation restoration treatments for all 8 artworks would be in the range of $831,000 to $1,040,000. He gave a cost estimate for ongoing maintenance. You know, this is post-treatment for all the artworks in the amount of $24,300 per year. So we currently are sharing this report with Metro Parks and General Services. In conversations that Van, in fact, had this week, Parks staff indicated just how very useful these assessments will be. Parks has a grant they've been awarded, some work they're doing with the Metro Historical Commission for restoration of concrete structures in Centennial Park. And this report will aid them in those efforts. Parks also let us know about several Friends group, particularly ones at Fort Nashborough and Shelby Park. And having this assessment and cost estimates for artwork conservation provides these Friends groups with some really worthwhile and visible projects that they might take on. So even though this is a challenging budget time, we feel optimistic. We know this work is important and needed, so we want to continue to explore what opportunities there might be and support other departments as we're able. That's it for me.
Any questions for Ann Leslie?
This is Omari. I have one, I guess, more comment than question.
Yes.
And I would be, as far as the lending library, I just wanted to kind of suggest that, or I didn't know where the framing and the videography and some of the photography work is being done. I no longer work at Woodcuts, but I'm local Black-owned framer, been there for 30 years, and just kind of suggesting some different. I don't know the difference. I don't know where any of that stuff is being done, but kind of lending my yeah. Please reach out if there's any opportunity for, that as far as framing, and also photographers or videographers. There's definitely some some local videographers that we might that might be interested in kind of taking on some of those projects. So I'd love to chat about that at or offer some names.
Well, and Omar, we would certainly, I will be talking with you, and we'll certainly be getting some videographer names from you. And of course, keep in mind, this is a pilot project for the lending library. We are very hopeful that we will be able to do this at more and more branches. So there will be additional framing opportunities as well. So I'll be in touch with you to get some contact information.
That sounds great. I appreciate it.
And Omari, we are going to drop that bid for videographer. We're wrapping up that draft this week, so we're hoping by Wednesday of next week. So we'll definitely be super appreciative for names and suggestions. The more folks that we can get that scope and call for bids out to, the better. So if you do have videographers, we'll definitely take you up on that offer.
Sounds great. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, of course. Before we move on to Madison on my mind update and Attilio, I just want to say, Ann Leslie does an amazing job. A lot of that work, the conservator work, this maintenance, it is not glamorous. It takes a really long time. It's super tedious. It takes a lot of expertise and coordination, and Ann Leslie does it just masterfully. Even putting together these RFQs for the art conservator. That's the first time we've had a conservator on contract with us. Same with the lighting designer. We're kind of stepping up our game by contracting these arts professionals to help us ensure that we're taking care of these assets in our collection. And it's a learning process for us, but Ann Leslie has just done a really stellar job. And she cares so deeply about, being good stewards to this collection. So I just want to say this is like 2 years worth of work that Ann Leslie just presented and a few brief slides. So I just want to give you a public shout out, Ann Leslie. You've done amazing work on this, and I know it's ongoing. So that can be frustrating at times, but we are making progress. Ann Leslie's just done a fabulous job. So thank you, Ann Leslie.
Thank
you for doing it so I don't have to, because I'm not great at spreadsheets, but Ann Leslie is.
Thank you.
So to wrap up our meeting, we are going to hear from Attilio, who has been entrenched in all things Madison. He's going to give everyone an update on the Madison on My Mind NEA grant.
Thank you, Ben. Good morning, everybody. So one of the requirements for the grants we received from the National Endowment for the Arts was to create a survey after our event that we had. Next slide, please. Just here on the right-hand side with the two images are images from our event. This is Sam Angel and Miriam Speyer. And here we go. So to create the survey, we decided to bring back Todd Bressie, who worked with us in the past on our public art guidelines. And he is also known for Mural Arts Philadelphia, Pratt and Penn Institute for Urban Development. Todd leads an innovative design practice that explores the intersection of city design, place planning, and public arts. He also works with civic agencies, organizations, and private developers who are committed to creating lively, engaging public realms. Our target audience are the Madison arts community and art creative businesses that also support artists, such as event suppliers, rental shops, and art supply stores. To reach a wider base, we did create both English and Spanish versions of the survey, just to gain a greater scope. Our distribution strategy involves targeting art schools, businesses, financial partners like Chamber of Commerce and the Arts and Business Council. Not to mention, we are also promoting the survey on all our social media platforms. The term for the survey will be a 2-month duration period, so it will end at the end of April. And the overall goal is to better understand the Madison arts ecosystem. So as a department, we can aid and introduce new resources to the community. And we do ask that you share this with anyone you know within the Madison community. You can find the links on our Metro Arts website and also on our social media posts. And that's all I have right now for Madison. So thank you.
Thank you, Attilio. And I think that concludes our meeting, but before we wrap things up, I do want to say, I know we had a few questions. We're definitely going to share the Kossie Gardner call to artists with everybody. We'll go ahead and share the videographer bid information too, if anyone knows of anyone who would like to apply. And then also that link to the Madison survey. So what Grace and I and Emily, of course, will work on with the team is kind of compiling that into one email. So you're just getting one big email from us instead of a dozen with various links and updates. So be on the lookout for that. We'll kind of package it nice and pretty for everyone to make it easy to help us promote these things within your circles and networks.
Great. Anybody else have anything? Well, members, thank you so much for being here today and for your hard work, and staff. You amaze me every time we have a meeting. I'm just blown away by how much you get done and do, and I appreciate it very much. And if there's nothing else, I will call this meeting adjourned. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good one.
Bye, everyone.